Have you ever thought, what if your darkest season is exactly where God plans to begin? It sounds crazy, right? But that's the story we're diving into. It's at the very heart of how Jesus kicked off his entire ministry on earth.
I mean, just picture it. John the Baptist, this powerful prophet, this voice crying out in the wilderness, the one who was literally preparing the way for Jesus, is suddenly just gone, silenced.
It must have felt like a total disaster, a crushing blow. The whole movement, it seemed like it was over before it even really started. It's like hope itself was locked away.
But this is the moment everything changes. Because right when it looks like total defeat, heaven wasn't backing down. Oh no, heaven was just repositioning. God was about to make a move that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. And it reveals this incredible pattern in how he works.
So what was this wild, unexpected move? Well, it was pure genius. See, Jesus didn't march on Jerusalem, the center of all the power and religion. Nope, he headed north. He went to the margins, to this forgotten borderland.
And the difference between these two places, it's just night and day. Look, everybody expected the Messiah to show up in Jerusalem, the holy city, the glorious city of God. But Jesus, he chooses Galilee, a place the religious insiders completely looks down on. They saw it as messy, compromised, even unclean.
So what was so wrong with Galilee? Well, it was kind of a crossroads, full of mixed cultures, mixed beliefs. The faith there was seen as watered down. They even called it Galilee of the Gentiles. And trust me, that was not a compliment. It was a term just dripping with contempt. It was seen as a spiritually dark place where people were just lost in the shadows. And yeah, that's exactly where Jesus decided to set up shop. But here's the thing. This wasn't some mistake. It wasn't a plan B. This move, as strange as it looked, was actually the perfect fulfillment of a promise God had made hundreds and hundreds of years earlier. So it makes you wonder, right? Why there, of all places? Was Jesus just trying to lay low, avoid the heat in Jerusalem? Was this some kind of retreat? The answer is so much better than that.
Get this. Centuries before Jesus was even born, the prophet Isaiah pointed his finger right at this map, right at this region. He specifically named the old tribal lands, Zebulun and Naphtali, which is smack dab in the middle of Galilee. And he made this incredible promise that this land, this place covered in darkness, would be the very first to see a great light.
You see what's happening here? This is so important. Jesus wasn't making it up as he went along. He was following an ancient script, a divine map that had been laid out all along. His very first steps were a declaration that God keeps his promises, especially to the people everyone else has forgotten. And it's right there, in that dark, overlooked corner of the world, that Jesus starts preaching. And his message, it was the most revolutionary thing anyone had ever heard. Now, when we hear that word repent, our minds can immediately go to shame and guilt, right? But that's not the heart of what Jesus was saying at all. He wasn't wagging his finger. He was extending an invitation. He was basically saying, hey, the light is right here. All you have to do is turn and face it. It's not about feeling terrible about yourself. It's about turning your whole life toward hope. And that just shows you what his kingdom is all about. It wasn't going to be some earthly empire with armies and thrones and politics. No, it's a spiritual reality. And it starts quietly, inside a single human heart, the moment it decides to turn back toward God. Okay, so that's a great story from 2,000 years ago, but what does it have to do with you and me right now? Well, this whole idea of Galilee, it's a timeless promise, and it's for every single one of us. Because here's the truth. We all have a Galilee in our lives. You know what I'm talking about. It's that part of your story you'd rather hide. The area where you feel like you failed. That secret doubt you can't shake. That relationship that just feels broken for good. It's that one place you're convinced God would never, ever want to go near. And if you hear nothing else, please hear this. This is the heart of it all. Jesus isn't waiting for you to get your act together. He's not waiting for you to clean everything up. He walks right into the mess. He chooses the dark places on purpose. Why? Because that's where his light is the most obvious, the most brilliant, the most beautiful. But this incredible story, it doesn't just stop in Galilee. And it doesn't just stop with our personal lives either. What happened there was a preview. It was a hint, a foreshadowing of something so much bigger. Are you seeing the pattern here? It's amazing. In the past, his kingdom began in one specific dark little corner of the world. Right now, in the present, his light keeps entering the dark places in our own lives. And in the future, he's going to return to a dark world and just completely flood it with the light of his glory.
Think about that. The very same king who walked quietly along the shores of Galilee, who just spoke to a few fishermen and outcasts, he's the one who will one day return with a glory that fills the entire sky. The same light that touched one small, broken region is going to light up the whole universe. That quiet, humble beginning is our guarantee of a spectacular, glorious ending.
So, if you're in a shadow right now, if you feel overlooked or broken or just so far from God, I want you to remember Galilee. You are not disqualified. In fact, you're in exactly the kind of place that Jesus specializes in visiting. He's a God who moves toward the dark places, not away from them. The good news is that the kingdom is here. Darkness does not get the last word. The light has come into the world and he is still, right now, entering the darkest places. So the only real question left for us is this: where do you need his light right now?